I want you to think about the last time a child in your life completely fell apart. You know what I'm talking about. The meltdown, the blow up, the shutdown. That moment where everything went sideways. Okay, you got it? Now, I want you to think about what you did next. What was your response? Because here's what I've learned after years of studying the brain. It's not the child's behavior that determines the outcome. It's actually yours. And today we're going to talk about why almost everything you were taught about behavior is wrong and what the brain science actually says. So let's jump into it. Welcome to Rewire the Response. I'm Dr. David, and I am an author, TEDx speaker, someone who spent his career studying one essential question, and that is, why do kids do what they do? If you're a parent, teacher, maybe a school leader, counselor, anyone who works with young people, this podcast is for you. So we're going to talk about brain science, real behavior, real strategies, real stories from the field. No fluff, no theory that doesn't translate. So just the biology, the neuroscience you actually need to change the outcomes. So let's talk about what we're going to do. We're going to start with the dominant model most of us were raised with and trained in, and that is this idea that behavior is a choice, and the only way to change those choices is through punishments or consequences. Now, why does this feel so true? Because it does work for regulated kids in low stress situations. It works for the kid who pushes a boundary to test a limit. It works when the thinking part of our brain is in operational mode. But it doesn't work for kids who are struggling the most. And these are the kids who often get the referrals and they're sent out of the classroom or who have been suspended multiple times, the kid who melts down every night at home despite every strategy you've tried. So why is it? Because those kids are not making choices. Their brains are actually in survival mode, and a brain in survival mode just doesn't respond to consequences. It responds to the threat level sensed in the environment. So every consequence, every raised voice, every punishment adds to the threat level. And guess what? It deepens that survival response. So let's think about it this way. Let's say you're in a building, a high rise that is on fire, and someone walks to you and says, I think you really need to just sit down and think about your choices and what you're going to do next. And then I want you to fill out this reflection sheet. And that's what we're trying to do when we try to consequence a child whose brain is in survival mode and their brain, their nervous system is on fire and they're not ready to hear your logic and your lesson plan and all of your reasons and to go, wow, that really makes sense. So what I want to do is I want to break down for you how our brain works. And it's a simple model. It's not all the way complete, but we have our thinking brain, our emotional brain, our survival brain. Now we know it's all interacted, and, scientists, neuroscientists have said we can't think of it this way, but I think it helps us. If we think of it like a 3-story house, and we have the top floor, the penthouse, that's kind of the thinking brain. That's where the logic lives, executive function lives, where consequences get processed, where your child, quote unquote, knows better. And if you think about the middle floor, that's the emotional brain. That's where our feelings, connections, relationships, that amygdala is found. And just think of the ground floor, the basement is like our survival brain. That's where our fight, flight, freeze, pure instinct lives. No logic, no reasoning, just survive. So when stress rises, your child doesn't stay up there on that top level floor. What do? They take the elevator down. And when they hit the basement, okay, let's say we have those motion sensors there. That upper level goes dark, lights out, nobody's home. Part of the brain that you're trying to talk to is not going to be able to compute what's going on. So when you say things like use your words to a kid in survival mode, those words live on the top floor. And if the kid is in the basement, they literally are not going to be accessing the language the way that you're asking them. They're not going to be able to use it the way you're expecting it to. So what fight looks like, and again, it's not always fists or pushing. It could be arguing, talking back, what we label often as defiant, slamming doors. What that looks like is going to be evident. And flight isn't always just running away. It's hiding. It's, avoidance. And freeze isn't always just stillness. It could be, I don't know. It could be a head on a desk. Can be like a student in a classroom appearing not to care. So what do we do with all of this in this kind of model of the brain? Well, if consequences don't work in survival mode, do we then just let kids do whatever they want? And I got a comment this week on my YouTube channel that this was a bunch of crock what I'm talking about. And I respect that because I think we need to clarify because accountability matters, boundaries matter, but the sequence matters. So it's regulate, connect, then correct. It's not correct first and then hope regulation happens. It's like trying to teach a kid a tough algebra problem when they are, having the flu or something. Okay. You've got to address the physical need first. And our brain works the same way. You address the neurological need, which is the regulation, before you try to teach correct or consequence, which we call, regulation or connection before correction. It's not soft, it's strategic. And really, it's harder than just yelling or handing out consequences, which make us feel better. It requires you to regulate your nervous system first, requiring patience, a different understanding of what behavior actually is. And so I've seen this a lot in my own family with parents I work with, teachers who have had to make this shift in their classroom. And you really see deeper connections and deeper results. And so here's what I want you to do this week and think about this week. Just one simple thing, okay? So next time a child in your life starts to emotionally escalate, before you respond, I want you to pause and ask just one question, okay? What brain state or what level of the house are they in right now? Don't try to answer it perfectly. Just ask and then pause. Because that question itself is the beginning of your rewiring journey. And starting in March, I'm going to go deep on this. I'm just setting you up for 4 weeks of down-to-earth brain science content that'll work for parents, for teachers, school leaders, school psychologists, mental health professionals. And then I'm going to host a live workshop at the end of the month on survival mode. Actually, it'll be an extended workshop time. And so you'll be seeing more details coming soon. And you want to make sure that you're following me on all the socials at Dr. David A. Palmer. You want to make sure you're subscribed to the Substack because you don't want to miss out on anything that's coming up. So thanks for being here. And if this episode resonated, share it. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe, send it to a parent who's struggling, a teacher who's burning out, a principal who may be staring at the data that just isn't moving. This work spreads really person to person. It's relational. And every adult who hears this is an adult who really does show up differently for that one child. And so again, I'm Dr. David. This is Rewire the Response. And just know we're just getting started. So hang on and keep coming back for more.